Hello everyone, good morning. My name is AISHLING and I have Casey here with me to demonstrate a flow class for you this morning. So we're going to be working to open the hips and shoulders and chest, working towards a bound warrior 3 pose. There's lots of options along the way, so take whatever suits you this morning. And we're going to get started in Supta Baddha Konasana. So you can lay down onto your back. Bring the soles of your feet together and your knees wide. And then once you're there, just take a moment to settle in. And let the knees get nice and heavy towards the floor. Let the shoulders soften into the mat. Take a big breath in together, in through the nose. Out of the mouth, part lips, breathe out. Let's just take 2 more like that in your own time, breathing all the way up to the tops of the lungs and emptying completely. After the last round, just let yourself come back to a natural rhythm of breath. See if you can still breathe all the way from the belly to the tops of the lungs and exhale every bit of air. It's just another 3 breaths here before we start to move this morning. When you're ready, let's slowly draw the knees together. And we'll drop the knees over towards the right, bring the arms out to a T and come into a little twist. So you can keep the eyes closed if you'd like. Shoulders and knees heavy towards the mat. When you're ready, the knees come back through the middle and then over towards the left, pausing for a few breaths. Need a little bit more length through the spine on the inhale and a little bit more depth as you breathe out. Throw the knees back through the middle. Hug them both into the chest. We're going to take a few rolls up and down the spine this morning. We'll eventually meet high up onto the sit bones into boat pose. So take a few rolls and then head on up. See if you can catch yourself there. Nice, you can stay with your hands on the back of the legs, or you can reach your hands forward, lifting your shins parallel up towards the ceiling. Nice, squeeze the belly in. We're going to stay for the next 5 breaths. If you'd like, you could lengthen your legs long. It's just an option for the next 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice, take your feet to the mat to roll over the knees and come into a tabletop shape. Take a few slow cat-cows here. So the belly dips, tailbone and chest lift on the inhale. Exhaling to round and press away, draw the belly in towards the spine. Just keep flowing between those 2 shapes for the next few rounds of breath. And to wake up through the spine, feel free to add in anything else here that you'd like, some movement through the sides of the waist. So when you're ready, find your way back to the center. You might like to draw your knees a little bit closer towards each other, and then you're going to walk the hands forward and come into a puppy pose. So the chest will melt down towards the mat. Forehead can rest down, or if you have a block or a book, you could pop it under your head for a bit more support here. Just letting the chest melt towards the floor. 3 breaths here. Gently opening through the shoulders and the chest. Here we're going to slide our body forward, so we're laying in between the elbows into a Sphinx pose. Okay, so forearms are on the mat, forearms press down, and chest lifts up, you pull the heart forward. Notice where you feel this little bend, which part of your back is starting to open. From here, without thinking about it too much, let's come into a full arm plank. So tuck your toes, lift your body up off the mat. Forearm plank. Yes, that's it. Nice. So squeeze in just 2 more breaths. Pressing the full arms down. The next exhale will take you back to a child's pose. So drop your knees, slide your hips back in space, go long through the sides of the waist. At any point this morning you'd like to revisit this shape, go for it. Let's start to spread the fingers wide, reach the arms long, make it a little bit more active here. So the elbows start to lift, fingers press down. And then when you're ready, tuck your toes and come up into a down dog. So hips lifted, chest draws back towards the thighs. Take a moment to just pedal out the legs and move around. So when you're ready, find some stillness here. Let's lift up onto the balls of the feet. So draw your heels up away from the mat and then bend your knees, breathe out. Take a little tiptoe, walk to the top of the mat. It's a halfway lift here, so hands can be on the shins or fingertips on the mat. And exhale to fold back down. One more like that. Breathe in, find length and space through the spine. Exhale, fold. Press through the feet to stand up. Draw the palms up overhead. Bring them to touch. Breathe out to fold all the way back down towards the mat. As it's a halfway lift, breathe in. Exhale, fold down. Plant your hands into the mat and step back to a high plank. Drop your knees down, shift your weight forward. So modified chaturanga, come all the way down to the floor, lay onto the belly. This baby cobra pose. On the inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades, lift the chest. Breathe out to fold down. Find your way from here back to a down dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips. Use one breath in through the nose, out of the mouth. Just inhale high up onto the toes. Bend your knees, breathe out. Step or walk your feet forward to the top of the mat. It's halfway lift on the inhale. Exhale, fold down. Press to stand, draw your palms up, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Halfway, breathe in. Exhale, fold. Plant your hands down, step your feet back, come into a high plank. So your choice this time, the knees can stay lifted or you can drop them down as you lower, chaturanga. To cobra pose or an up dog if you feel ready, lifting through the chest. And down dog is the breath out. So you can stay with either of those 2 variations through flows this morning, or you're welcome to add in, change things up. Let's take one last round. Inhale, lift your heels. Bend your knees, breathe out. Step, walk or jump forward to the top of the mat. Halfway to lift. Exhale to fold. Press to stand, draw your arms overhead. To the mat, fold forward, breathe out. Halfway lift. Exhale and fold. Plant the hands down, step back. It's your flow from here. We meet in a downward facing dog. And you could sit this out completely if you prefer. Next, let's start to float the right heel up away from the floor. Bend the right knee, open up through the hips. So squeeze your heel towards your sit bone. Next, take an inhale. And as you breathe out, draw your knee in towards your nose, round forward. Gently place your right foot between the palms and drop the back knee to the mat. Let's come into a low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Take your arms up overhead, squaring the hips towards the front of the room. He's lifting up through the crown of the head, through the spine. From here, let's sweep the hands behind us and interlace the fingers. If that feels too much, you could always hold onto the forearms. Let's lift the chest and pull that fist away from the body, peeling the chest and shoulders open. One big breath into the front of the heart, staying for the exhale. So you can either release the bind or keep it as you slide your hips back in space, come into a half monkey pose. It might help if you'd like, if you're staying with the bind, you could always tuck your back toes for a little bit more balance here. Flexing the right toes back towards the face. This last breath here together. Release the bind if you've got it. Come back. So bring your hands to frame the right foot and then bend the right knee. Come forward. Now let's tuck the back toes and lift. Meet into a simple twist. So the left hand will stay down and the right hand will lift. Please get really strong and straight through that left leg. Again, you're really welcome to stay right here. If you'd like, you could roll to the outside blades of the feet and step back to any variation of a side plank here. So you could drop the bottom knee or come all the way back with straight legs. Keeping the hips lifted and the spine long. One more moment here as you press the ground away. Cool, take your right hand onto the mat. Add in a flow here to breath or meet us in down dog. You're slowly arriving back when you're ready. From here, the left leg floats up. Bend the knee and open up through that hip, squeezing the heel towards the body. And breath in together. And the exhale takes the knee towards the nose as you round forward. Step the foot through. Come into a low lunge. So you drop your right knee to the mat and take your arms overhead. Just again, that little slide back of the left hip and the right hip forward. Bring your hands behind your back and interlace the fingers or hold the forearms if you did before. So breath in, so you draw the hands away and peel the chest open as you lift. Keep the bind or release it as you slide the hips back into half Hanumanasana. So the left toes will draw towards the face. Again, you could tuck your back toes for a little bit more support here. Bring that space through the back of the left leg. Let's release the bind of the hands, come forward, and we'll meet into a twisted runner's lunge. So lift the right knee, lift the left hand, spinning the chest up. You can stay here or come back into your version of a side plank. Pressing that right hand into the mat and keeping the hips lifted high. Let's take the left hand down, come into a high plank, breath out to lower, chaturanga. Back bend of your choice on the inhale. And a down dog as you breathe out. These 2 steady breaths here. Cool, let's float the right leg back up. Draw the right knee towards the right tricep this time, so squeeze in through the side of the waist. Inhale, send it back up. To your nose, breathe out, round forward, and then step through into a runner's lunge. So right foot forward, hands frame the right foot as the chest reaches towards the front of the mat. Press down through your feet, maybe a little bend in the back knee if that helps you to stand up into a crescent lunge and take your arms high. You can find that squaring of the hips, length up through the spine. It's nice and deep through that right knee. From here, let's come into an arrowhead pose so the chest goes forward. The arms reach back as if someone's pulling your hands towards the back of the room. Really squeeze them back. Keep that weight into your right foot. Let's sweep the arms, just the arms forward into a thunderbolt pose. And then we'll move to breath here. So breathe in here. To exhale, it's an arrowhead pose. Arms sweep back, shoulder blades squeeze. Inhale, thunderbolt, reach your arms towards the front of the room. Last one, breathe out, arms go back. Inhale, thunderbolt pose, reach forward. Send all of the weight forward into that right foot. Gently float your left leg up. come into a warrior three. Nice, so the hips are squared. You can either flex or point that back toe, keeping the whole leg strong and engaged. Last breath in. The exhale will fold forward into a standing split, so keep that left leg lifted, dropping the chest towards the standing leg, releasing the head and neck. From here, step your left foot to the back of the mat, so the leg that is lifted, step it back. And then we'll meet into a three-legged down dog with the right leg lifted, so send it up and back. Nice, you can keep that right leg lifted as you roll forward and take a flow, making it a three-legged flow, or move in any way that works for you this morning. Nice. Left leg floats towards the sky. Left knee, left tricep, slide forward, squeeze in. Inhale to lift. Next breath out takes it to the nose. Step between the palms, it's a runner's lunge first. Spine is long, back leg is long. With that grounding through both feet, and then use that to stand up. Let's come into the crescent lunge. This little squeeze of the heels towards each other. There's an arrowhead pose from here. Long through the spine. Sliding the hands forward, keeping the rest of the body just as it is. The breath now, inhale here. Exhale, arrowhead pose. Inhale, thunderbolt, arms forward. Last one, squeeze the arms back. Inhale, go long, go forward. Send the weight into your left foot, leaning forward to float your right leg up off the mat. Find your balance here. You could always bring the hands to the heart if that's easier for your balance. Keeping the hips squared, last big breath together. It's a standing split. On the breath out, folding forward. Allow the chest to melt towards your left leg. Doesn't matter how high that back leg gets. We'll step the right foot all the way to the back of the mat and then meet into a three-legged down dog. So press the palms and the left leg high. Again, same options here. You could add in that three-leg flow. We'll meet back in downward facing dog. Let's lift up onto the toes, bend the knees, breathe out. Step, walk or float forward to the top of the mat. And then bend your knees, come into a chair pose, Utkatasana, arms sweep up, hips sit down and back. From here, sweep your hands behind you and interlace your fingers. You could again hold on to the forearms instead. Draw that fist away from your body. With the chest peel open, last breath in. Exhale to fold forward, lengthen as much through the legs as you'd like, and just come into a forward fold. If you'd like, you could step your feet a little bit wider. You might stay still or sway the hands, that fist from one side to the other, find a little bit of movement. Let's release the hands, step back into a down dog. Sweep your right leg up towards the sky now. We'll step forward straight away into a warrior two this time. So ground the back foot, open out through the arms to the chest. Settle into this shape to let it steady breath. So press that knife edge of your back foot down into the floor and send your gaze forward. Start to flip your front palm to the ceiling. Straighten the front leg into a reverse Trikonasana as you lift up and back. Cool. Keep your feet pressing down, send the hips back in space and come into a triangle pose, Trikonasana. So reach forward and then down. If you need to adjust the distance between your feet, do that. Again, there's that little squeeze of the heels, a little drawing in of the belly. Spinning the chest up towards the ceiling for one last breath in. Staying for the breath out. Start to find a little gentle bend into your right knee, and we'll float forward. So right hand forward, half moon pose now. Lifting your left leg up away from the mat. You can flex the back toes, keep both legs really strong and engaged. Just rolling open. Start to step your left foot to meet the right and bend the knees, come into a chair pose. So both knees are bent at the top of the mat. Nice, and the hips down, draw the bottom ribs down. Exhale to fold forward. It's halfway lift on your breath in. And an exhale to fold. Plant your hands down, step or jump it back into a plank or chaturanga to flow here, moving to breath. This left leg lifts, breathe in. Come forward, warrior two, ground through the feet, spin open through the hips, through the chest. Spin the shoulders, but keep the arms really strong and take your gaze over your front middle finger. Flip your front palm, straighten your front leg. It's a reverse Trikonasana on the breath in. Feel that length through the left side of the waist. It starts to tip you forward into a triangle pose, reaching long. Tiny little micro bend into that front knee so that your muscles are switched on. And a rolling of the ribs up towards the roof. Start to bend now into that left knee. Take your left hand forward, half moon pose. Float your right leg up. You might have your right hand on your hip like Casey does, or you could lengthen it up towards the roof. Kicking out through that right heel as if you're pressing against a wall. Last breath together. Step forward into a chair pose, Utkatasana, both feet together at the top of the mat. Send it down, send it back. Exhale to forward fold. And the breath in to lift. And exhale, fold down. Step or float back, add a flow to breath. We meet in the downward facing dog. When you arrive, take your feet as wide as your mat. Bend your knees a lot. Step or jump your feet outside of your hands. So it's Malasana, jump forward. Nice. Hips sink down. We'll just stay here for the next 3 breaths. So if you like, you can stay as you are. If you want a little bit more, lift your hips a tiny bit higher. Reach your arms forward. Pressing down through the heels. Inhale together. From wherever you are, the next exhale, we'll take the hands to the mat and the hips to the sky. Step back, downward facing dog. And start to add all of this together. So float your right leg up towards the sky. Bend the right knee, open up through the right hip. Squeezing the heel in towards the sit bone. You're welcome to stay here, or you could flip your dog over. Nice. Feet press, chest and heart lift. Come all the way back to a 3-legged downward facing dog. The next exhale takes your right knee towards your right tricep. You could pause here. You could find an arm balance, Kundalini, if that's in your practice. Nice. Slowly come all the way back, 3-legged down dog. The right leg is lifted. So breath out steps you forward into a runner's lunge. Ground to the feet to lift. Crescent lunge, stand up, arms overhead. Breath in. Arrowhead is the breath out. Inhale to sweep your arms forward. Thunderbolt pose, pause here. When you're ready, start to float up into a warrior 3. So you could stay with your arms reaching forward, or you could sweep them behind you and interlace the fingers, taking a bind with the hands behind the back. Feel that little extra opening of the chest. Nice, lifting high for 1 breath in. Wherever you are, we fold forward into a standing split, so release the hands if you'd like. Ooh, or you could keep them, fancy. Once you're in your standing splits, you could bend that left knee and take a hold of your left foot with your right hand, finding a little bind here if you'd like to play with that. Chest stays down, kicking the foot into the hand. Slowly from here, if you've got the bind, release it. We're going to draw the left knee up into the chest. A slight change here as a stalk pose, so left knee to chest, nice. And kick your left foot forward, keeping it in line with your hips next to the toes. Next from here, slide your way back through Daikasana, aeroplane pose. So arms go back, leg goes back. And then stepping the left foot to the back of the mat. We'll meet in a warrior two, so open out. Next one, breath in. Soften, breathe out. Keep the front palm straight in the front leg, reverse Trikonasana. To a triangle pose as you exhale, slide forward and down. Again, you can stay right where you are. If you'd like to take a bind or a half bind, you could bend that top elbow and spin the chest even further open. And belly squeezes in. Keep the bind or release it. Slide forward into a half moon pose and tiny little bend through that front knee to take you there. And when you arrive again in your half moon pose, there's a few options, so you could stay as you are. If you'd like to take Chapasana, you could bend the top knee, find the back foot. Anywhere else you'd like to go from here for the next 2 breaths, the shape is yours. Amazing balance. Last one in. Stay, breathe out. Chair pose is our meeting point. 2 feet at the top of the mat, knees bend. So let's take the hand down onto the mat. From here, you could step or jump back. If you'd like to add in a crow pose to your flow, welcome to do that also from here. To have a play, if you'd like to bend the elbows, take the knees to the back of the arms, squeeze the heels up towards your butt. Nice, stay as long as you'd like. When you're ready, we'll meet in down dog. So find your way back, move to breath. Let's inhale together. Exhale out. Left leg floats. Bend the knee, open through the hip. Stay or flip your dog over. Nice. When you're ready, come back. 3-legged downward facing dog. Knee to left tricep is your exhale out, slide forward. With balance here if you'd like. Cool, send it all the way up and back, 3-legged. Breath out takes you forward into a runner's lunge. Step the foot between the palms. Ground down to then lift. Crescent lunge, that's meet. This breath out is arrowhead pose, chest forward, arms back. Inhale, thunderbolt, arms forward. Let's float up, warrior 3. Again, so you could take the other options that you took on the other side. So you could stay like this, hands could sweep behind you for that bind, or you could bring your hands together at the chest. Just keep lifting and drawing the shoulders open. Ground through that left foot, fold forward into a standing split. So again, you might stay right where you are, or you could take that bind, bending your right knee, kicking the foot into the hand. You slowly press through that left foot. Can you draw your right knee up into your chest and stand into a stalk pose? You kick the foot forward as if you're pressing it into the wall. And then slide your way back into a warrior 2. Through Daikasana. Yeah, arms go back and then right leg goes back. Nice. You got it. Lift your front palm, lift up and back to reverse, straightening through that left leg. The triangle pose from here. If you took a bind on the other side, you could do that here if you'd like. Squeezing the heels. Our next exhale will float us forward into half moon pose. So your variation of this shape, whether you took on the other side, you might keep that bind, you might find Shavasana or a little bit more of a test for your balance if you float that left hand away from the mat. Use some breath together. To chair pose as you release, 2 feet to the top, bend your knees, sit down and back, find a little bit more depth. Exhale brings your hands onto the mat. Again, if you'd like to play with crow pose, you could add it in here, your choice. Keeping your gaze forward as you squeeze the heels in. Amazing. When you're ready, let's find our way back to a down dog shape. Three big breaths here before we move. See if you can slow the breath down and come back to that really full, long breath we took at the start of class. A few options from here. You can stay as you are. If you'd like a child's pose, take that. If you would like to bring your forearms onto the mat, you can come into a dolphin pose. So your feet can stay as they are, or you might tiptoe them a little bit closer towards your body to press the forearms down. We've got 5 breaths here. And then if you aren't already in a child's pose, just slowly make your way down. Again, another 5 breaths, so hips are heavy back onto the heels, head can rest onto the mat. Last 2 steady breaths. Let's reach the arms forward, spread the fingers wide, and then tuck the toes, come back to a down dog. Let's walk the feet to the top of the mat and come into a forward fold here. So you can peace grip the big toes with your peace fingers and let the elbows fall wide. Any other variation of a forward fold. Soft bend in the knees, chest melts towards the legs. Release the bind of the toes. Let's slowly roll the spine up until you're standing at the top of your mat. Cool. When you get there, send all of your weight into your left foot. Let's draw the right knee up into the chest. Flex toes, it's a stalk pose. From here, we're going to slide our way back into a warrior 3. So slide that right leg back. And revisit this shape. You're welcome to stay right here. If you would like, you could sweep your hands behind your lower back and interlace them together, finding that bind. Again, here might be where you stay. If you'd like a little bit more, you could bend your right knee and maybe find your right foot with your hands. That's it. Yeah, it's beautiful. So you can kick the foot into the hands, lean the chest forward and find this bound version of a warrior 3. Feeling the chest and hips open for 2 more breaths here. Really good balance. Nice. Let's gently release that foot. Step it to meet the left. Take the arms overhead. Find a big breath in. Bring the hands together at the heart. So close the eyes. Take a moment. If you need to wiggle out the legs, do that. And both feet press, and from that press, a little bit of a lift up through the spine. Nice, then send the weight into your right foot. Let's draw left knee into the chest, arms overhead for a stork pose. Squeeze the belly to lift the knee a little bit higher. So once you've got that balance, slide your way back into warrior three. Same options here. You could stay, you could bind the hands by taking them behind you. Again, you might stay here. You might bend the left knee. Yeah, so squeeze the heel towards the body. Find that grip of the hands. Just kicking the foot into the hand. Last breath. Nice. Gently release 2 feet to the mat. Arms reach back up overhead. Take a little back bend here if you'd like. And then fold all the way back down. Re-meet into a forward fold. It's a halfway lift. Inhale. And an exhale to fold down. If you'd like one final flow, take it now. We'll meet back in a downward facing dog. There's 2 more breaths here. Let's start to roll the spine forward, come into a high plank. And then in one more rolling movement, bend your knees, roll back, downward facing dog. Just take a couple of rolls like that. You can move slowly, just moving through the spine. The next one, let's meet forward into a high plank. And pause there. When you're ready, it's a slow lower towards the mat, a chaturanga for 3. Squeeze your elbows for 2. Nice, lay flat for 1. Take a second here, belly presses down. You can rest the hands wherever they like. Okay, so at the top of your mat and to the sides, just make sure you have a little bit of space. We're going to be adding in some arm movements to our locust pose this morning. So we'll start with the hands beside the hips with the palms facing down. Yep. Let's slowly peel the head and chest up away from the floor. Keep the feet pressing down for a moment, but lift your hands up. Let's take a breath in and a breath out. On your next inhale, let's lift feet up. And then let's start to add in the arms. So sweep your arms forward towards the front of the room. Exhale, squeeze them back. Shoulder blades squeeze together as if you're moving through water. So inhale, come forward. Exhale, squeeze back. Last one, breathe into the front. Exhale, hold it back. Lift up. Last breath in. Gently release, breathe out. Take a little wiggle through the hips, through the lower back. And then reset your hands beside your hips. Press your feet down. Lift your chest, lift your hands, lift your legs. One last round like that. Breathe in, the arms go forward. Exhale, squeeze it back. Let's take 3 more like that. Your own breath, your own time. At the end of the 3rd round, we meet with the arms reaching back. We find a lift of the chest. All last breath in. Just gently release, breathe out. Again, the head can turn, the hips can wiggle out. Finding a little bit of release through the lower back. If you'd like, you can stay right where you are. Otherwise, we're going to take one final round of a back bend. So you could take a locust pose here if you'd like. If you would like to, you could bend both knees and take a hold of the feet or the ankles here, coming into a bow pose. So it's a similar feeling as the bound warrior 3, just in a sort of different position. So kick your feet into your hands, peel your chest up away from the mat, rolling the shoulders open. The more you use your legs, the more lift you'll find here. Let's stay 3 breaths. Really gently release the legs, lay back onto the belly. From here, take your feet wide as your mat. Hands, resting underneath the head. Let your heels roll into the center of your mat. See if you can find a little bit of more release through that spine. Another 5 big breaths here. Just allow everything to settle. Belly connecting down onto the mat. When you're ready, the hands come underneath the shoulders. Come up to a tabletop, take a little wriggle out. Distributed movement here. And so then when you're ready, tuck your toes, come back to a down dog. Start to float your right leg up towards the sky. And we'll come into a half pigeon pose on the right side. So right knee draws forward, left leg goes long. If you'd like some more support underneath that right hip, you could place a pillow or a rolled up blanket there. And then either stay sitting upright if that feels good, or slowly reach your hands forward, walk them forward and draw the chest down. This may be the head rest down, allowing the whole upper body to get soft and heavy, and send all the breath into the right side of your hip. Five breaths here. Last three. Let's slowly walk the hands up towards the shins. Sitting off onto the right side of the hip, we're going to swing the left foot all the way around and then cross it over the top of the right. So we're coming into a twist. Nice. So reset. If you'd like, you can straighten that bottom leg out for a little bit more space through the hips. So find what works, either straight or bent with your right leg. Then let's sit tall, take the arms overhead here, and then twist over towards your left. It's keeping the spine really long. You can take a little gaze over that back shoulder. Let's bring your chest through the middle. Let's take a little counter twist in the opposite direction. So both hands towards the right hip, chest towards the mat. Ooh, come out, unravel all the way. So you can unravel your legs. Yep. And then find your way back to a down dog. Take a little walk out of the legs. When you're ready, left leg will float. Finding your way forward into a half pigeon pose on the left side. And any prop support you need here, lifting the chest. And then folding forward when you're ready. While you're here, take a moment to notice if you're creating any extra tension through the upper body. So can you relax the shoulders? Can you unclench the jaw? Allow everything to get a little bit softer and heavier. Keeping that breath all the way down into the belly. So just slowly lift your chest. Fingertips creep back towards the shins as you sit off to the left side this time. Right leg will swing all the way around so the sole of the foot comes to the outside of your left knee. Take your left arm up, breathe in. Twist towards the right as you breathe out. It's finding that nice little twist to the middle part of the spine. Again, if you kept your bottom legs straight on the other side, you can do that here. Let's unravel through the center. Take a little counter twist to the opposite side, hands towards the left. Cool. Spin back through the center this time. Hands come behind the lower back. Fingertips point towards your body. Take the soles of your feet onto the floor. Take a little windscreen wiper of your legs from side to side. And then come through the center. Press your feet down. Lift your hips up. Reverse tabletop shape. Squeezing your hips towards the ceiling. Use the breath in. Slow breath out to release. Just wrap your arms around your shins, round forward into a tiny little ball. You can rest your head towards your knees. You start to fold inwards. Lift your chest up. Slide your legs long onto the mat. Sitting really tall. Take the arms overhead. Breath in. Paschimottanasana as you breathe out. Chest down, so you can hold on to your legs or your feet, or you can make it more passive and rest the hands beside the legs and allow the spine to round forward. Find what works for you this morning. 3 slow breaths here in this forward fold. So lift the chest up now, reach your hands forward and slowly roll down onto your back for 3, for 2, for 1. Come all the way down. When you get to the ground, squeeze your knees up into your chest. Give them a little hug in. It's mindfulness to take a little rock from one side to the other. Massage out the lower back. Cool, then release your feet onto the mat. Keep the knees pointing up. So soles of the feet on the mat, knees point up. So feet are about hips distance apart here, but your heels are nice and close to your body. And you come through a round of bridge pose. So let's press the feet down. Peel the tailbone, hips, spine up away from the mat. If you'd like, you could shuffle the shoulders underneath you and take an interlace of the hands. It's that same bind we've taken all the way through class. Keeping the hips squeezing out, squeeze the heels towards the body, back the legs and glutes to lift the hips. Slowly start to release whatever you've got, come all the way down onto the mat. Take a little pause at the bottom. And then a wriggle out in whatever way you need here. Cool, let's take one last round of a back bend. If you would prefer to stay right where you are, do that. Otherwise, bridge pose or full wheel if that's in your practice and you'd like to play with that this morning. Reset your feet, press them down. If you're coming into a bridge, we'll peel up from here. If you're practicing wheel, you can take your hands by your ears and then press down to lift up. Nice, drawing the heart towards the back of the room. Slowly peeling down when you're ready. Again, find that pause and a little wriggle to release. Then squeeze your knees back in towards the chest. Let's keep the right knee drawn in, send the left leg long onto the mat. Use your left hand to take the right knee across the body into a twist. Eyes can close here, shoulders heavy towards the floor. Maybe noticing if this little twist feels slightly different to how it felt at the start of class. Slightly different variation, but is there a little bit more space through the spine, a little bit more movement through the body? Softening into the shape for the next little breath here. Let's roll back through the center. And swap your legs over, so right leg is long, left knee draws in. Find the twist from here, taking the knee across the body and the arms wide, maybe a little turn of the head if that feels good. Softening through the belly, the shoulders. That's 2 breaths. Let's roll back through the middle. We'll meet in the same shape that we started in, Supta Baddha Konasana. Take your soles, the feet together and your knees wide. Rest the hands beside you or somewhere on the body where it helps you feel more connected. And let's take a few rounds of square breath together this morning. So square breath is a counted breath of 4 on each part of the breath. So the inhale, a pause at the top, the exhale and the pause at the bottom. So take a breath in to get ready, inhale together, and exhale out. So breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause 4, 3, 2, 1. Out 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in for 4. Hold for 4. Out for 4. Hold for 4. Slowly let yourself return to a natural rhythm of breath. And here, let's slowly draw the knees together and we'll just take a happy baby pose to finish. So knees hug in, take a hold of the outside blades of the feet. A little gentle inversion before we head off for the rest of the morning. And from here, when you're ready, we'll slowly come down, releasing the legs. If there's any other shape, movement, wiggle you need before you rest, take that. If you're at home and you want to get some blankets or get really comfortable, do that. Take up as much space as you'd like this morning and then let your whole body get really soft and heavy on the floor. allowing each of your exhale breaths to let the body get even heavier, even softer into the mat. In the next few moments of stillness, of quiet, nothing else needs to happen. Just here. You're really welcome to stay here for as long as you'd like this morning. If you feel ready to start to come back, you can take a few little movements through the body, so wiggling the fingers, the toes, maybe a little roll through the head and neck. It might feel nice to take the arms up overhead and find a really big stretch. And from wherever you are, slowly roll over onto one side and just take a moment there to pause. And when you're ready, let's meet in a seated position at the top of your mat. Let's bring the hands together at the chest. And we'll take one last round of breath together. So inhale in through the nose. Open the mouth, the sigh out. Thank you for joining us to practice together this morning. You have a beautiful day. Namaste.